we never really talked about this on the show before, but I think next thing is Deion, right?
Yeah, it kept like getting on the show sheet, then somehow just like us missing the topic like throughout the time he was in Jackson State.
Mm-hmm. So this is a. I'm sure I'm just going to go ahead and get out of the way. Like to listen, people that are watching this or listening to this, like I have a full on bias with blind spot in affection for Deion Sanders. Like I started as long as I can remember. I was a Florida State Seminoles fan, and Deion Sanders was like everything to me. Like he was the coolest motherfucker, or one of the coolest motherfuckers ever. And he's playing baseball and also he's like the best cover corner to ever live, and he's fast guy ever in the NFL. And he is the star that helped like solidify Florida State, like besides just like them playing anyone anywhere, and they have the talent to be great. Like they were great before he actually landed on campus. But the thing is, like, he is the star on the marquee for the campus at the time. Like it is, go watch, Thorpe finalist, Thorpe eventual Thorpe winner Deion Sanders in the Florida State Seminoles in 1980 and 1989, or sorry, or 87 through 88 in, what I'm saying? Like, so like, yeah, like to me, he's the greatest player in the history of the I'm saying promotion of the university. And like his cachet and his charisma like led him into being like the person that you think of with the big smile and the charisma and like the ability, because of like the literally actual person that actually is large in life. Like with all of that charm, charisma, in the suits and the smile and all of that, and the chain and the bandana and the and the headband and the gold chain. There's so I keep going about there's so much in the but like he was able to, like, for a lot of people, like be a lot of things to a bunch of different people, like in the, if you will, like around like this fandom of football, like to country dudes. You hear him talk, that's country as hell.
Yeah.
That's churchy as hell, right? And it's always been the case with him. Like to up north dudes, city dudes, or whatever else, whatever you want to call them, like they see the Flash or whatever else, and it's on some like flair shit, and they see the minks and all the gold and whatever else, and they respect that too. Like he means a lot to everyone, and like in a way, I remember when Jimbo Fisher was at Florida State, and like when he had dudes from Miami visiting, like the car that he would bring to campus at that particular, or the football practice that particular week, or whatever else, would be like coupes or Mercedes cars, whatever else. And then when he's bringing in like dudes from like Polk County, someone like a Derwin James, or he's bringing in like country dudes from Alabama or Georgia, he's in a pickup. Like Deion is one of those people that's able to like walk that line pretty finely, because like he can mean so many things to different people, and because he was so great. Like, I mean, you still got people in the league now doing the high step and and all that kind of stuff after they get an interception, all that kind of stuff to this day, and he's been out of the league for over 15 years. So he had been like, this happens to a lot of NFL players, like do youth coaching, do high school, or whatever else. And I remember, around the time, he had said something along the lines of he wanted to be he was something about he wanted a Florida State to give him a job coaching defensive backs, and it was like, but you can't really take that seriously, because like there's no way in fuck he wanted to be a defensive backs coach for Florida State.
Right.
Like that's too small of a job for someone as great as him and as successful as he is. Like that's like, no. Like you ever hear about like people say like I'm overqualified for a job? He's absolutely one of those people. So he didn't have any foot or college experience coaching. So, but he wanted to be a head coach. It was obvious. And like, yeah, saw for, like from the 2010s to until Jack State, he had did all this stuff with Under Armour for like Under Armour's All-American game, all that kind of stuff. When you have the week camp or whatever else, you have like, almost like the McDonald's All-American game. Like there's two. You have the all Under Armour, or you have the Army one, and he was always with the Under Armour one. So he ends up getting that job at Jackson State. He gets to deal with Jackson State to do the apparel for Under Armour do the apparel for Jackson State. They have all the color schemes and designs, like damn near as many as Oregon, right? And he makes the thing work, and that's a credit to his singular like charm and personality to make that work. And obviously, Jackson State has a long history of success even before Deion. In the heyday of HBCU football, when you look around and you're like, where are most of the Pro Football Hall of Famers come from? Oh, they're coming from historically black colleges and universities. They're coming from FAMU. They're coming from Grambling. They're coming from Southern. They're coming from Jackson State. So it was a feel-good story for a lot of people, including me. But the thing was, I always felt this is all along the road. Like, these are stepping stones to get to where Deion wants to get to, which is he wants to be a college head coach. Because I personally believe he has something going for him that no other coach in America has. Not Nick Saban, not Kirby Smart, not Lincoln Riley, none of them. He has the ability to go into a room or go into into homes, into kitchens, into living rooms, and sell and put the rings down on the table and say, y'all know me, y'all know what I stand for, y'all have heard all the myths and the legends and folklore about me, and he can lean in and be like, all of it's true, and give you that big smile, and then you're fucking in. So for me, with Deion, it's like, yeah, there's a lot of the glitz and the glamour with him, but he's also like the dude that was like, we thought was like one of the first people to ever like do tape study. Like, he's a dude that's known for like, what the fuck is a laser disc? What's a laser disc, and what's a laser disc player, and why do you have it on this plane flight? Oh, you're watching film? He's one of those guys. So, like,
I think the deal with this thing, and like I feel like Deion, obviously, like, I think Bomani Jones has done an excellent job talking about a lot of this stuff, like in a way where it's like, I think, if people want to be upset with Bomani, they will, largely because they are jumping out the window to defend Deion rather than kind of looking at it, as Bomani said, this being about Deion, not really being about the HBCUs. And, I even, I don't want to say I bought it completely, but I was looking, I was like, wow, this would be dope if this like happened.
Right.
Like if like, they were able to basically upset the hierarchy of college football, and if he wanted to, stay there, I thought it was unlikely, but
right.
I think the problem that how I'm looking at it is, I think Deion wanted to do all this and then like not be told he was a bad person for it. And I don't think anyone's like basically like been able to look at him and say, Deion, you're not a bad person for like taking the next offer. It's like, it's just like, you didn't have to do, the rhetoric, the God sent me here to do all this stuff. Like, you just didn't have to like kind of traffic in that stuff as well. But like, you're not a bad person for going after, and I don't think people really know how to handle it when you put it like that, because it's like, I think
it's the game.
Yeah. I think when people look at it, it's like, all right, like I was having a discussion with someone we know, and it was just like, I think he was like kind of thrown off that I didn't like basically admonish Deion for like actually leaving. It was like, well, no. I was like, we can talk about like what you did, but like at the same time think like, yeah, that doesn't make you a bad person though. And I think the problem is, for the people that want to defend Deion, they think everyone's calling Deion a bad person for doing this, which I don't believe is true.
There are some, but
there are
that's not
some.
most people. That's not most people.
I'm not going anywhere near that sellout stuff, like, because like there's selling out, and the gentleman we talked about in the first segment, he's doing that, like, and that's not what Deion's doing at all. Deion is he's basically finding an alternate route, like, you know, to get to where he wanted to be. And was the HBCU like a casualty of it? Yes. Did they play the game knowing what they were signing up for? Yes, they did. And I think it was mutually beneficial. It was gonna end, but I think it just brings out a lot of uncomfortable conversations that people may or may not be comfortable having in public, in mixed company, and it's a strange kind of thing, because like I like Deion. Like, I don't have like that same attachment to him that you do, James, but like he's obviously like charismatic. Basically, every time he's talking, he sounds like he's selling something to us, but he's ultimately a likable guy with a big smile and like all the game in the world. And we've seen all those videos that he was putting out, basically because in Jackson State they record everything. Yep. Like basically, like when he's talking to the kids, like, I mean, he's bringing fucking Brittany Renner in to talk to the dude, and it's just like he's preparing these dudes like on a
was that last season or his first season? There,
I think it was like last season.
Okay.
Yeah. Like he was preparing, like, you know, he's got all the propaganda. Oh, it's all there, baby. Like all of it, everything that we need to see. Oh yeah, we see. But and that's before you get into the X's and O's aspect and the recruiting. And you know, he said he's bringing his luggage with him, and you know, he's able to make an impact with the transfer portal and also like, you know, his recruiting ability and Under Armour and everything that comes with being Deion. So I would think people could kind of compartmentalize a lot of these things and look at the pros and look at the cons, because what are there faults to what Deion did? Yes, because like there you know, I think you're only going to get so far saying God led you to do these certain things with certain people that may not rock with you in that way. Yeah. But you know, that's all I pretty much had to say. I think it's a complex issue that we just have to look at every piece of and not be lazy about it.
Right. And I think like when you just look at it, like the optics of it was so alarming to a lot of people that may not know, like if you're just if you're not into college football and you're just watching the story, it's like, okay, so this guy was success. This guy came in, no coach experience, went to a lower level, which makes sense why he would get a lower job. But the part where he gets the job is because he's a legend and he like knows how to, and he's done a lot of work with high school football, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like, okay, I understand why he gets that job at that level. And then like he's very successful with it at the start, and then like and then he gets a better job resource wise. But when you see like he's going from 12-0, potential to be 13-0 to and then like he's going to like the worst program in the Power 5. Like a lot of things go off because it's like, wait a second, he can get a better job. And you heard me the whole like, you know, last week like in messages like, okay, so we don't know how real any of this Cincinnati talk is. We don't know how real any of the South Florida stuff is, but like both of those jobs are better than Colorado, because I was all in the assumption, or maybe it's my fault, I don't know, but like I was in the assumption like he's flipping jobs just like most coaches do. Like we just had Satterley leave from Louisville to go to Cincinnati. He took a step down after already being at Louisville for a number of years. Why? Because it's to get to get the clock going on a new contract, and instead of getting off of a hot seat, right? Like we know how this game goes now. Like we can't even try to be like pretend like it's the old college trials. Like no, the game is you are getting people to believe in you and what you're trying to build at this particular university. And as everything goes well, you are plotting to then leave, and that's not just separate. That's not just
and take your players
singular,
with you.
Yeah, and that's not just singular to Deion. Hello, Lincoln Riley just took Caleb Williams from him right out of Oklahoma to the Heisman Trophy probably this weekend at USC. So like this is some singular to Deion thing, but what is unique to Deion is he did this at an HBCU, and then he's leaving HBCU, and I think they'll still be successful in the SWAC without him. But the part that I think bums out a lot of people is when you talk about in the front at the beginning of this is like the idea of what kind of power HBCU football could have. Like, me, I always think about like certain universities and like are they sleeping giants, right? Like what year was when I started talking to you about Georgia? Like Georgia could just like
I was like in the
2015 or 16.
I was gonna say like 2014, 2015, something like that.
Right. Like, and I was looking at the Clemson thing and it's like, like if they ever the population's growing, whatever else, there's the Carolinas, like with Spurrier leaving South Carolina, those kids got to go somewhere. Why not Clemson? They're always 110 miles from Metro Atlanta. Like that could be a good job. And then, Lord, like the money comes in. That Greenville area is like booming right now, and 2 national championships later with Dabo. For me, thinking like of Jackson is like, I didn't think Deion was going to stay there for long, but the way he was talking, if you buy into that and you're thinking from the perspective of me of like sleeping giants, like, okay, so why can't they be Cincinnati or Memphis or whatever else? Like the state of Mississippi as a football like hub or not hub, but like as a place that like produces talent is a very undertapped resource because of institutional racism. Like the education's terrible, kids can't pass. University of Mississippi has all those issues. Like you look at you go through this
it's like
60s and 70s.
Shit is right there. Like you can just reach right across the border.
Right, because Jackson, North Mississippi. It's like, and you look at where the Pro Football Hall of Famers have come from, right? And you're like, from before the let's say 90s, and you're like, there's a lot of fucking dudes that went to HBCUs in the Mississippi area that end up not going to Ole Miss. Why did not go to Ole Miss? Oh, I didn't go to Ole Miss. The Confederate flag, the rebel stuff, singing Sweet Dixie, all that. That's a big part of that. So it's like, yeah, there was a potential for that. It just all it came down to is the right person there that already comes in with advantages from his relationship with Under Armour and working with some of the top working with some of the top programs or they get some of the top talent in high school to then be willing to give a look to that. And he has the game and the mount and the gab to get people to convince themselves of, hey, I want to go to a place where like I'm not just there for football. I'm there to actually take in like the experience of whatever bit of a college experience you actually could get while being in practice all the goddamn time. But like in a way where it's not just like you're there and you're only there for football and people only look for you for football. They can find value in you outside of what you do there. So like, yeah, I can see why people were sold that dream and bought onto it and are upset. And I feel bad for them. But I don't necessarily think that Deion is, as you mentioned, like I don't think Deion's a bad guy for this. That's just the game. I just wish that he hadn't done some of the stuff or said some of the stuff he said. I wish he could take back the part where it's like, why not us? Why not HBCUs? Like he didn't have to make himself the face of that. Maybe he felt like he did to actually sell people further on the dream. Like this is actually a real thing. Maybe, I don't know. We'll never know that. But he said what he said, and like that shit sucks now that he's gone. And like, it's gonna be weird is like to see what success is for him because like they're not gonna be going 11 or 1-11 in Colorado. Like
they should at least jump to like 6-win team minimum next year.
I think. I mean, who knows what happens? Whatever else. Like I heard that like Colorado is notoriously hard for transfers or whatever else. I heard they're going to they're going to give Deion more leeway with that. So we'll see. But like, this was a place where like they used to compete for the Big 12.
And I've only taken one trip to Denver, Colorado. Like, it's a really nice place. So, I mean, I think they can get people up there.
Yeah. I mean, the part is like you looking at like there's really you're looking around and you're like, where is the talent? But the thing is with Deion, you have the ability to recruit nationally in a place in a way that like you would not have with anyone else with their job.
Right.
And that's the thing that I thought made Deion special, or gave him the potential to be special if he could just figure out like how to maintain a staff, how to not get lazy, how to just basically be a CEO, like to be a Bobby Bowden, a Dabo Swinney. If he could figure that out and keep his staff right and stay on top of guys, not let like bad culture spread from letting knuckleheads on like overtake your roster or whatever else. I think that if he, given his level of charisma, I think that he could just be a dynamite recruiter of talent at a good place. So like, yeah, I mean, even at Colorado, I think, with obviously, in a few years you'll have USC out of there, you'll have UCLA out of there. That doesn't mean that like Utah is going to get bad or Oregon's not going to, still rock, but they will. But like, I think that like this is a place, and I don't think this is the last stop for him, right? But I think this is like a place where he can come in and he can win over like 3 years. I don't know, anywhere from 18 to 21 games, and you look at that and you look at what it was his like 17 years before he got there, and he's like, all right, now it's time to get him a real job. Because there were people that were talking before who did Auburn hire? I can't remember
Hugh
right
Freeze.
now. They hired, before they hired Hugh Freeze, people were kicking. They say there were some little whispers about Deion. It's like, I'd rather hire Deion Sanders than Hugh Freeze. Because the thing is, if you have any reservations about Hugh Freeze, it's because you think he's going to do something stupid. And it's like, all right, well, if you're going to do something stupid, then like let's try it with Deion. Because I think Deion will have a less chance of having to blow up in a way that like it did at Ole Miss for Hugh Freeze. So yeah, like we'll see how this all goes. I think he'll be successful, and I think this ain't his last stop, and I think he's going to get himself a good ass job, and we'll go from there after that. And I'm interested to see how this goes, his career, and how he handles like being in different places. Like Deion outside of the deep South in Florida is different from Deion when he's there, and I'm interested to see like how that's going to play with like SEC, ACC, Big 12 country, parts of the Big 10. Like you can say certain things in press conferences and like, obviously like media availability, the way coaches and football staff or media staffs can hold up like journalists or whatever else. But like certain places like that good old like Christian charm is not going to fly. And I don't know like what it's like down in Boulder. I don't know.
So if anybody's prepared for that, it's Deion Sanders, who was in Dallas, Texas, and San Francisco, and Atlanta, and New York for his baseball career. Like he'll be ready.
I hope, because I don't know how it goes when Deion gets an interview that he don't like, and I don't think I've ever seen too many of those. And like,
I mean, you can get a small taste through like him responding to Bomani like subliminally, like we can see something's there. Like it's like where he'll drop the facade, quote unquote, and give it back. But it'll happen. But I think I'm
really interested to see how that goes, because look, that happens with everyone. And look, I'm not saying that we've seen these Nick Saban blow-ups over the stupidest of shit. We've seen Dabo act an ass and literally make his program unlikable over the last 5 years with his nonsense. Yeah. So we'll see how this goes. But like I regardless of whatever happens, I'm always gonna be rooting for him. It's Deion. Like I just can't like he's just like the name and everything just like literally makes me put a smile on my face. Like he's that kind of guy for me as far as like celebrity and like what he means to me. Oh, and like literally part of my identity as far as like growing up. So like I can't like fake it. Like I'm rooting for him. Even with this and it sucked, like I'm still rooting for him.
So